Hey friends, thanks for joining me today. I got a comment recently that just really resonated with my soul and I couldn't get it out of my head, and it just said more blush with like a lot of exclamation points and I think all caps. And I wasn't sure if I should take that to mean I should have applied more blush in that video or that you would just like to see more blush content in general. Obviously, I can't go back and like change myself in that video, and it just rested with me that I need to do a video about blush, solely about blush. So I kept thinking about it. Like I went about my day and I was like, more blush, more blush, more blush. I just couldn't let go of the idea. So I specifically want to talk about what I would call fun blushes, like the bright colored blushes that maybe you might think, oh, I can't even wear that, like I can't get away with that. Like these are fun and they work and they're beautiful and they're maybe a little bit unique looking, but on the cheeks by the time they sheer out, they're completely wearable, I think. Also, I have a flameless candle going back here. I got a little light so far. And on the rest of my face, I thought I'd let you know I chose to do the Perfector 4-in-1 again, but this time I paired it with CoverGirl Outlast. So a little more coverage than the L'Oreal, but I still love that L'Oreal and Maybelline pairing. I have no blush on yet, so we'll get there. I'm wearing this Dior palette. I just fished this out of my drawer, the Dior Backstage in Cool Neutrals. Felt like I hadn't worn that really enough and just went for a very light eye look there. And I've been wearing a lot of my Estee Lauder Little Black Primer and just trying different mascaras on top. So today it's the One Size Fantasize on top of that. On my lips, I'm wearing one of my Too Faced Heartcore lipsticks. This is in the shade Never Grow Up. And then I just lined it with a little bit of Estee Lauder Mauve lip liner. And let's see, I can't like put on each and every one of these, but the first one I'll talk about. This one is so fun. These little blushes from M Cosmetics, and yes, the shade called Little Lilac. This is so pretty. It really kind of translates to looking like a cool pink on the cheeks. And this formula, if you've ever gotten like a Rare Beauty blush and you've been a little put off or a little frustrated by how they go from like 0 to 100 on your cheeks, like the tiniest dab can sometimes feel like too much and you got to police yourself so much. These are a little different formula. They don't set up so fast. They're not quite as intense and they've got a little more like moisture in them. When they say they're a serum blush, they really do feel that way in terms of their texture. So they have a little dropper. They're so cute, but I'm gonna put like just a little bit of this on my cheeks here. Just a little. And you could blend it with your finger. I love using with cream blushes. I love using my Sephora 56. And you can just blend this in and it sort of turns into something you might not expect. Look at this fresh, cool pink. It's fun. It's satisfying. Like blush in general is always going to be fun for me, but these just really satisfy, you know? Look at that. And the little bit of radiance that leaves. Now I have zero highlighter on my face. It's just the blush. And the fact that, like I said, it's a serum blush, it has just a little more moisture in it. It didn't totally change the texture of my face, you know, it doesn't feel sticky, but I've got a little glow on my cheeks from this. It's so great. You can build it up. You can get even more of a profound pinkiness going on there, but I love that. Just absolutely adore the freshness of that. And there are a lot of shades in this line that I might gravitate toward a little bit faster, like the dusty rose looking colors and all that, but this color, I tell you, if you like a soft, cool pink, the lilac one is so great for that. Another cream blush that I'm loving, and I applied this in my last video, but the Tower 28. They've got a couple that I really like. The one called Power Hour is really good if you like a richer kind of brownish shade, but this one called Happy Hour is so bright and so much fun. And I really like going to some of these cream textures with a stipple brush. As full as this is, it really diffuses the color nicely. This one's from Eco Tools. I need to come up with something that's still available, like that people can actually get their hands on, because I think this one's discontinued, but I just go into that and start stippling on the cheeks, and it's such a pretty, fresh, awakening kind of blush shade. And on that same thought, if we're talking these cream blushes that I love, this palette from Danessa Myricks is really fun as well. It's dewy cheek and lip, so you can create some great monochromatic looks, but they have a bright pink in here, a couple of coral tones. This one has some shimmer. right here. A Dusty Rose is in there as well. You can mix, you can layer, but I also like using that with this brush. I remember talking about this months back, but I'm just kind of trying to get into and enjoy some of my brighter blushes, not just those that are like, oh, that's a pretty comfortable dusty rosy mauve shade, you know? But yeah, you could use this with the Sephora 56 as well, but some of these bold cream shades, I think they really benefit from a little brush like this. A more dense brush handles some of the liquids really well, but I mean, do whatever you want. Do whatever feels comfortable. You can also blend with your fingers just fine. Another cream blush to talk about, and I've worn this a lot in recent days, it's my Makeup by Mario stick in the shade Raspberry. And it was kind of funny, the reason I got this, a lot of people were going gaga over these blush sticks initially like months back, and I went to get one and all of the sensible shades were sold out and they only had this one. I thought, well, you know what, I'll go for it. I'll do it. And it's super pretty. It takes a very little amount, but it just livens up the face. In comparison to these, it's probably a little brighter looking pink than the rest of these creams that I've shown you just now. But with blush, blushes tend to have a range, okay? So if you want it to show up more, you apply a little more, you build it up a little more. If you want it to look more sheer, you can do that. Like you can grab a dark blush and you can just apply it with a lot of control and you can still make that look work for you as well. Now, I'm not huge on this brush. I feel like it's very stiff and dense and it almost makes me apply more pressure to the face than I want to get the whole look blended. So I would say, you know, either one of these could be good. You could very easily just get a little bit of this off on your stipple brush and just go to town like that. But it's a great color and I don't think people should be overlooking that super fun shade out of the Mario collection. Now let's talk about this M Cosmetics stick. This is my last cream blush that I'm going to mention today. These So Soft sticks are absolutely beautiful. A great texture both with their contours and their blushes, and they have some fun shades that I've been kind of rediscovering. One of them is called Bitten, and it's a rich kind of reddish looking shade here, and it's super pretty. It's a great in from the cold blush type color if you like a truly rosy cheek, and you could go straight to it with a brush. Sometimes that's a nice approach to take with these more intense ones. I'm going to add a little bit of this to my look on each cheek, and you can see just how beautifully it blends. You know, it's an intense shade, but I'm not working hard, but look. And they don't really market these sticks this way, but I think this is a really pretty shade on the lips as well. But I'm just pressing over it. See how I'm not even buffing? I'm not disrupting any of the makeup underneath, and this just blends easily. I don't have to work hard at it. This cheek needed a little more. Oop. That is some fresh blush right there, gang. I love it so much. And this line is loaded with great options, but don't overlook Bitten because you think, well, that's just too dark or that's not for my skin tone. Like, look, the thing about blush is that I can't just keep applying all of them or else it will really distort the look. But a powder blush that I think is so pretty, and I think it's pretty similar to the look people are getting from that Dior blush, the really cool pink one. I'm pretty sure I applied this in a recent video, but this blush in the shade Over the Moon, really beautiful, cool pink blush. A concentrated swatch of a blush tells you very little. You'd have to see it kind of sheared out on the cheeks, but it's a very fresh pop. It's kind of like this gone to a powder form. If you're ever shopping the Sephora line and you're just curious about trying something, I was very impressed by this blush. I also have gotten another blush that I like too. The first word that comes to my mind when I think of a cool pink blush is fresh, awakened. This Bitten stick, while I love it, it really does say like blush. These tones more just give off that vibe of energy, health, life. Another blush that I rediscovered fairly recently. It is so good if you like a coral peach blush. This one from Milani, it's Coral Cove. Now I would normally gravitate toward Romantic Rose in this line, you know, the mauve-y dusty color, but this is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it would pair great with like a nude lip, a warmer lip. The intensity is so there, and you don't need a lot. Just go into it lightly. I would never brush across this blush to try to pick up a lot. I would just dab into it with like my e.l.f. blush brush, which is my chosen brush for powder blush, and you'll get all you need out of this puppy. And lastly, I found one that I can also add to this look. This from MAC. It's Sweets for My Sweet, and it's an extra dimension blush, and this is kind of glowy. A lot of what I've shown you so far, it's just been pure color, you know, pure 100% pigment in these shades, not so much a shimmery idea. This is really interesting. Like, you go to put this on and it does have a sheerness to it and a sheen, and I'm trying to describe the color. Sheer rosy, almost with a little bit of copper, just a hint mixed in. There's some warmth, there's some heat in this look, and I'm going to apply it over top of what I have going on here. So you can see that little dewiness we've achieved from the M Cosmetics Serum Blush, and we also put on Bitten, but I'm going to get a little bit of this on my e.l.f. blush brush and just take it across here. Think blush topper. It gives you just a little more color and some glow. You see the added intensity from this cheek to this cheek? I love that. This is hard to put your finger on, and I've realized I like it most when I put it over the top of existing blush. It's not so intense, but it's fun, and it gives that little added glow. Not flecks of shimmer, not anything that even really looks like highlight. I'm not gonna wear highlight today because I'm just loving the glow that the cheeks seem to have right now. So guys, those are my picks. Fun blushes. I'm answering the comment, more blush. These are my thoughts. I would love to know if there are any blushes that might seem even a little scary to you, like a little unapproachable perhaps. You know, that bright shade or that rich shade that you went ahead and tried and it just knocked your socks off. I would love to hear some stories like that in the comments section so we can kind of add to this list. But yeah, I think the creams especially really have a way of having that range where you can apply them in so many different ways. You know, you can experiment yourself with different formulas and say, okay, I'm gonna try just patting this on with my fingers and see how that goes and get like a bare minimum kind of thing. Or I'm going to use that soft stipple brush. Okay, maybe I can take a little more. I'll use a more dense brush. Should you swipe it on the cheeks first? Should you go right off the stick? You can definitely experiment, and what you will notice is with every different application method and every different little amount that you try putting on, you can achieve a different look out of those cream and liquid blushes. So to me, that's really fun. That gives you a lot of range. I think some of these powder blushes, especially these two, are more like what you see is what you get. You know, you go into that shade, it goes on the cheeks. Yes, you can be more subtle or more intense with the amount you choose to put on, but overall, you know, you're getting those shades. And this one, our little kind of wild card topper, just gives this glaze of color and luminous finish on top of your blush. I love that. For as into blush as people seem to be these days, I feel like this is a step that a lot of people would enjoy. Man, I thought this was going to be a super short video, like a really quick video. It was not. Thank you so much for your time, everybody, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.